Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to our weekly Friday Richmond Stats. We're here with our broker and owner, Chris Small, and he's going to break down and give us his insight and knowledge on the housing market and what's going on currently in the River City. Chris, thanks for joining us. We're also here with Annie Junker, our social media and marketing manager, and she has a question for Chris.
Yeah, so Chris, I wanted to ask you, what is the current state of the market? And would you say it's really geared more towards sellers or buyers, and why?
Right now, it is still a seller's market. There is not a lot of inventory, and there are lots of buyers out there. And from my perspective that I see, things are moving along at pretty much at fast and furious pace.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
That shocks everybody when I tell them that. People, when I do run into people, in these days of everybody being isolated, people are like, well, you guys must be dead in the water. It's like, nope, busy as can be.
Yeah, I have friends that live across the country that have, when we connect on Zoom or whatever, just for a virtual catch-up session, they're asking me, of course, about my job and everything. And, oh, well, how's the market in Richmond? I'm like, actually, we're doing really well. So yes, it's a good thing. We're happy.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that question, Annie. We're also joined here by our office manager and inside sales agent, Andrew Harrington, and he has a couple questions for Chris as well.
I do. Chris, so my question for you is, how many homes went into escrow in the past week, and how can we compare that to last week?
Well, this week, as of this afternoon, I guess, what time were these stats done?
It was about 2 p.m.
As of about 2 p.m. today, almost 600 houses have gone into escrow in the last 7 days. Last week, that is down some from last week. Last week, it was about 680 houses that went into escrow. Last week, there were a much higher number of houses under 250 went into escrow than this week. The number between 250 and 400 was almost the same. It was, I think, 237 versus 250 this week. And the market segment between 400 and 800 this week was 107. Last week was 113. So, those are pretty substantial sales. And then this week, between 800 and a million, there were 3 houses that went under contract. And last week, there were 5. This week, between 1 and 2 million, there were 7 houses that went under contract. And last week, there were only 5. Last week, there were no new transactions under 2 million or over 2 million. And this week there was 1. And so there was a total of 598 new escrows this week, which seems pretty healthy considering the environment that we're working in.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. And Andrew, I think you have one more question.
I do. Obviously, summer is right around the corner. And I just want to know what you thought, or how you thought the housing market was going to be like as we're moving into the summer period.
Well, my crystal ball needs new batteries because it's been kind of burned out over the last few months. My guess is, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of traveling this summer, or the traveling will be more local oriented traveling, like not necessarily day trips, but like, going to the river versus flying to Europe, or, going to see somebody in South Carolina, or, renting a beach house in North Carolina or something. Although I think there's a lot of fear, people have a lot of fear of like renting houses and things like that. So unless you have a house or have friends with a house, probably not going anywhere. So, a lot of times the travel and the family fun stuff that everybody puts as paramount in the summertime, I think people will be here. They'll be like, okay, got to get this done. They're also trapped in their houses with their children and their parents and, everybody else. And they're like, we got to do something. I have gotten so much new business from people that called and said, we weren't planning to move, but we got to have a bigger house, or we got to have a bigger yard, Or, we bought a beach house that we were planning to retire to, or a river house that we were planning to retire to in 3 or 4 years. And we sheltered in place and we're done. We're not coming back. I literally had one client who called and said, we're going to come get our clothes and our Peloton bike and get the house sold and have somebody come in and sell all the crap in the house. So I think it's changed a lot of people's perspectives on, on their priorities. Because it's like a lot of people are waking up and going, okay, we can work anywhere. It's hard for me to work anywhere because eventually somebody needs to go see the house. So I'm going to need to go see the house or get somebody to go see the house. But we've sold houses where people haven't been in them and they've closed on them and been happy as they can be. So it's, as with any crisis, it will accentuate extremes and help create the phrase that everybody keeps tossing around, the new normal. I'm not sure. I was talking to a client today who most of the time lives in New York City, but she left about 2.5 months ago. She went to Florida where she has a house and was there for a while, and then has been here where she also has a place and has been here for the last couple of months or the last month. And we were talking about it today, about all the articles in the New York Times that say, oh, it's going to change all this stuff. And, restaurants are never going to be the same. And I said, let's have this conversation in about a year, because I think once we're past this, it's going to be business as usual. And it's going to be even bigger because people don't want to stay home. They want to go out and do stuff. And so, you listen to NPR and you hear all the horrible news about the percentages of unemployment, but you have to look at where most of the unemployment is. They're going to be reemployed in a relatively short period of time if they want to stay in the same type of industries, because I think they're industries that they're more easily, the jobs are replaced. So these people have opportunities to just take a replacement job. And at least, that's kind of what we were talking about today, was that, the restaurant industry is not going to die, because I can tell you, after eating at home for 2.5 months, I'm done. I don't want to. I want to go somewhere where somebody's going to walk up and say, what may I get you? And now that Richmond has finally opened up, I'm getting to do that later tonight.
Yeah, no, I think we're all excited about that as well. Well, if you haven't tuned in every Friday, we do this, and we want to make sure that you guys get the right information. You're getting the most up-to-date information, and we would love if you guys have questions. We can also send you the spreadsheets of statistics, so please let us know if you're interested in that.
Break down some of the major marketplaces in Richmond, or do you want just people to ask for that?
It's up. What was the question? I'm sorry.
I said, do you want me to break down some of the major markets in central Richmond, zone 10, zone 20, zone 22, zone 30, zone 60, Chesterfield?
I would say if somebody was super interested in those, to give us a buzz and let us know. And that way we can dial it down for you if you really need that hyper local information. And if you're an agent who is looking for maybe some change, we at Small & Associates work super hard to make sure our clients are getting this information and getting the most up-to-date information. And we strive to make sure our agents have the right strategies, the solutions, and tools to make sure that they're taking care of their clients to the best of their ability.
So, and Andrew has been super at helping us do that. As the broker owner of this company, there's some things I'm really, really good at, and taking the time and assimilating the information and stuff like that sometimes suffered. But when Andrew came in, he was able to do all of those things for me. And we work as a really good team for agents coming in. But mainly what my big focus is do the agents have the tools to service the clients? Because what we really want to do for the clients is make sure the clients have the information they need so they can make the right decision. Richmond is an extremely complacent real estate market, and we are not a complacent agency. And we don't train our agents to be complacent. We train our agents to ask the right questions, to get the right information so that they can help our clients the way our clients need help. So, you know, if you're thinking about making a change or need some advice or need some input or want to know how the events at hand may be affecting you and your individual situation, you know, reach out to me and I'll be glad to see how we can help. And if I can't do it, I can find someone on our team, which I hate to use that word team because we're not a team, we're a company. And you know, we're not a team with somebody else's company. This is my company, and I've owned it for over 30 years and have, you know, been an independent company because I never got the support from the agencies that I worked for, and went out and did it on my own, so that if I was going to do all the work anyway, that I did it under my own shingle. So, you know, let us know how we can help you.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next Friday.
Okay.
Bye.